So, now what? Now what happens to QAnon now that Trump is about to get the boot? I mean, surely they'll admit defeat, pack up, and just move right along, right? Well, there's one small problem. That's not really how Q rolls. Let's break it down. If there's one thing I've learned about the people that follow Q, it's that they're fully committed. And last week's results gave us a lot of this.
For those of you who are worried about Joe Biden being your president, do not fear, he is not and will not. Trump went golfing today. He went golfing yesterday. He's not worried. And have you ever known Trump not to fight back? This will not stand. Trust the plan. Where we go one, we go all.
This sentiment was shared widely among big influencers inside the QAnon community. It's almost like they were gloating. Oh, I can't wait till their world crashes. There's an epic torrential downpour of liberal tears on the horizon. If your all-time favorite president is enjoying a relaxing game of golf, you might consider doing something fun yourself this weekend. It has only just begun. Some of them even think that the media calling it for Joe Biden was just one last-ditch effort for them to try and save face. At Real Donald Trump forced them to do this. I love it. The fake news media has officially collapsed. Hashtag God won. To me, this is the final desperation act. They know they're toast. See, the thing is, when you spent the last 3 years strongly believing that a democratic satanic cabal is running the world and stealing and eating children, voter fraud and Trump swinging the election back in his favor really aren't that far-fetched. And while they definitely have a real issue coming up on election day, and we'll get to that, but outside of the obvious Trump problem that they don't see as a problem yet, the QAnon movement is doing great and gaining real power. Not only did Marjorie Taylor Greene win her race and immediately start making ads like this.
This is Marjorie Greene. The American people re-elected President Trump, but Democrats want to steal this election with fake mail-in ballots, dead people voting, hidden vote counting, and rigged rules. And if they get away with it now, they'll steal 2 Senate seats in January.
But Lauren Boebert, who said she'd hoped Q was real, also won her race in Colorado. Between the two of them, they will represent about 1.5 million people, which is pretty scary. And that's not it. In Brooklyn, yes, in Brooklyn, the guy in the lead in a very tight race for Assembly District 46 has posted several QAnon conspiracy theories on his social media and is very open about his views. In fact, when you go to the state level, you had 23 different candidates embrace QAnon, and 7 now have a seat in their Congress. Hell, at the congressional level, I'd venture to say that QAnon did better than the damn Democrats. And that's going to be one of the biggest issues going forward, is that we have seen that QAnon is a very viable strategy for an outsider, for a way for them to gain notoriety and get attention and even donations, everything you need to grassroots fund a campaign. It's been a very successful strategy. So successful, in fact, that that's going to be one of the biggest things going forward, is that it's not just 8kun users and Reddit users spreading this stuff. It's no longer just, Munchies 420 on Reddit spreading this QAnon horse shit. It's senators and congressmen, which is a very scary thing. It makes it much harder to just outright disregard as fake news propaganda, even though that's exactly what it is. I mean, the social media bans could help a little bit, but honestly, I think it's really too late for all that shit. They let it get way too out of hand. And honestly, as far as the GOP is concerned, I don't think they're in any hurry to kill QAnon, because it's actually helped them a lot. There's actually some good data to suggest that the reason that the polls were so wrong is because of the people that believe and follow Q and their distrust of the media. There's also a large crossover between swing states and Q. Okay, so QAnon is gaining power, gaining seats in Congress. The GOP is way too slimy to do anything about it or care because it's helping them out. But what about January 21st? What are they going to do when Biden is sworn in? How will they react? Is it going to break up the movement? And the answer is bad and No. There's actually already been a few issues, including one in Philly involving a QAnon Hummer, an AR-15, and an attempted attack on a polling place in Philly that luckily the FBI was tipped off to. They also arrested a guy in New York that was armed to the teeth and threatening to murder Biden supporters. He said, and I quote, "The carnage needs to come in the form of extermination of anyone that claims to be a Democrat, as well as any of their family members." The truth is, a lot of these people see this as a life and death situation. Part of the whole LARP of the QAnon movement is that you're a digital soldier. You take matters into your own hands. You are the media. You do your own research. All that jazz. So I think the closer and closer that we get to Inauguration Day, because obviously Trump's never going to concede, but as we get closer to Inauguration Day and Trump doesn't get anything done, none of these lawsuits work, they all fail, I think we're going to start seeing some Anons get kind of antsy. And you might see some shit pop off. Now, obviously, I don't know 100% if something's going to happen. But we already got pretty close at least one time. So, I don't know. I think we should all just be prepared. If you have family members that are into this stuff, just, keep an eye on them, maybe. You have the MAGA rally in D.C. this weekend. Supposedly there's supposed to be rallies all over the country. So who knows? As far as the movement itself and how it's going to fare, I think this quote from a piece in The Atlantic called "QAnon is Winning" sums it up pretty well. It might have been easy to imagine that the end of Trump's presidency would spell the end of QAnon. But QAnon is bigger than Trump. And with a robust conspiracy theory, there's never a crisp end. In a worldview dominated by the belief that Democratic elites have rigged the system, a Biden victory wouldn't be a repudiation, it would be further evidence of a scandal. And the longer and closer and the more drawn out the vote counting is, the more baroque the theories can become. I think that statement sums it up pretty well. Q's not going anywhere. Despite all the claims made against Jim Watkins, despite Q not posting for the entire week of this election and counting, despite Trump losing, and despite getting every single thing wrong, Q has somehow done nothing but grow and grow in popularity and become a mainstream thing at this point. I mean, I'm sure it'll lose a little steam, maybe, but you gotta remember, the last time the Republican Party was out of power, we got the Tea Party movement. So usually when the Republican Party is out of power, they go even more fringe, more radical. We got QAnon under the Trump administration. So what's going to happen now that Trump's not in power? It should be interesting. And honestly, as far as them, furthering the QAnon agenda, it's not hard to change up the narrative. I mean, they could just say, well, now Marjorie Taylor Greene is our person on the inside, and Trump had to lose because he had to expose all the mail-in voter fraud, and now he's going to funnel information to Marjorie Taylor Greene while he's secretly over in Haiti rescuing children one by one. He's going to work with the Haitian government and then relay information back to Marjorie Taylor Greene, or I don't know, any one of the million things that they could probably come up with off the top of their head, and probably have already come up with, honestly. So, with that said, I feel like we'll have plenty of conspiracy content to fact check and debunk over the next 4 years. And I figured, why not start it off with a bang? So join me on my live stream, 6 o'clock on Wednesday the 18th. I'm going to be going over Out of Shadows, the entire thing in one live stream, fact checking, calling it out, debunking it, poking holes in it, all that jazz. So, yeah, hopefully you can join me. I'm hoping to have that be my biggest live stream yet. So hopefully you can join me. Links to everything will be down in the description if you want to, watch it on Twitch, if you want to interact in the Discord. All that stuff's down in the description. But anyway, that's my update on what's been going on with Q. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Turn on the bell for notifications. Otherwise, you will not get notified when I have a new video come out. If you guys like my work, want to support what I do, help me become a full-time content creator, please consider signing up to my Patreon. It'll be the first link in the description. And thank you so much to BumbleBunny420, Gabby, Leanne, and Amy for signing up to the progressive tier of my Patreon. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. And yeah, that's it, guys. Stay safe. Look for that live stream on the 18th. Thanks a lot. Peace.